Oh my goodness, a new adventure. How delightful. I'm so happy to be part of this exciting event. We've been trying to get her to do this for the longest time. And the group was arranged to be quite small and casual so that that sort of discomfort could be broken through quite easily. I do want to talk a little bit about suffering tonight because it seems to be something that human beings just naturally cling to. And it's not in every culture. It's much more pronounced in your North American culture, largely because of your religious teachings. I mean, when you think about Christianity, for example, the icon, the image of Christianity is suffering. So you get that belief in your mind that to be spiritual, to be this amazing person, suffering is part of the package. Well, it's not. And it's very unfortunate that that icon was chosen. And that becomes the focus of the worship, because that's not what it was all about. That was not the message of Christ. His message was to love, to be happy, to be joyful, to care for each other, to love one another. That was the gist of the message. And it got turned around into a message of suffering and the belief that to be a godly person involves suffering. And I'm here to correct that belief, for it's not true. It's very much a cultural thing that you have. The root of suffering really comes from how you think about the world. If you think this is a terrible thing, then you do feel those uncomfortable feelings, that which may be called suffering. If you think in a different way, your feelings will change, and that which was suffering is no longer suffering. So a lot of it really is about what you think, and thinking is a choice. Now, it's not to say that you don't go into automatic thinking, because you're kind of programmed. You have these neural pathways that take you down a line of thought in any given situation. But what you are able to do once you're conscious of that thinking is to think again, think something different. You may look at a situation such as a broken leg and say, oh my goodness, that broken leg is a terrible thing. I'm going to be in so much pain. I'm going to be off work. It's going to be awful. I'm not going to have enough money. And you can talk yourself into a really big place of suffering. Or you can break your leg and say, vacation. I've got time to play. I've got time to read all those books. You know, I have benefits. That's what they're there for. And instantly, with that change in thought, the feelings change, and it's no longer suffering. And a lot of suffering comes from wanting things to be other than what they are. This being is really struggling with watching her child be very ill, and it causes her to feel suffering. But if she were to look at the situation and just say, this is what is, and accept what is, the suffering would disappear. For it's only in wanting it to be something that it is not that suffering is created. If you look at the situation and recognize the perfection in it, there is no suffering. There's acceptance. There's peace of mind. And that's a place that you can all move into by monitoring your thoughts, by being conscious of what you were saying at different times. And the way to clue into when things are a little bit distorted is to pay attention to how you're feeling. And when you get into that place of feeling discomfort, and suffering really in your culture is anything that causes discomfort, is what's sort of lumped into that word suffering. It's not feeling the way you want to feel. And when you find yourself feeling one of those myriad of feelings that you call suffering, pay attention to what you're thinking about. What have you been focusing on? What have you been talking about? What do you say to yourself on a daily basis? Do you say, oh my goodness, this is an awful situation? And you say it over and over and over. It becomes an awful situation. If you look at it and say, this is a real opportunity for things to change in a very positive way, it becomes an opportunity for things to change in a positive way. It really is about how you talk to yourself. And in that talking, you adjust how you feel. You can create that positive feeling simply by changing what you're thinking at the moment. Now, it's not to say that that's easy, because many of you have very deep-seated beliefs. And again, you actually have neural pathways in your brain that were created by thinking the same thing over and over, similar to a groove in the records that you used to have so popular. It's like you create this groove that keeps you in that certain situations cause suffering. Anything that's similar to that's going to cause suffering. And it's about breaking out of that. So you may automatically go into that groove, but then pay attention to the feeling. When you get that feeling, then you have the opportunity to do something about it. And it could just be a question that you send up to your guides or angels, just saying, okay, this situation is happening. How can I use this to bring peace of mind? How can I use this situation to improve my life, to grow, to heal? Because every situation is an opportunity to grow, to heal, to move forward on your journey. So celebrate those times, even though your culture tells you they're not particularly comfortable. Sometimes they're the periods of the greatest growth. If you really look back over your life, the times when things were the most difficult are the times that you really had to step up and shine. That's how you found your courage. That's how you found your voice. That's how you found the strength and the tenacity that you have through those difficult situations. So again, instead of seeing it as a time of suffering, see it as a time of opportunity. The opportunity to really get to know who you truly are. And I will ask you